everyone. So for this lesson, we will discuss on how to use variable, data types, and operators in a Java program. When your program performs computations, you will need to store values. In Java, you can use variables to store values. So what is a variable? A variable is a name location that stores a value. Each variable has a name and it holds a value. So values are things that can be printed, stored, and operated on. We can compare a variable in a container or in a box that will store your things. So example, we have here a box with donate written on it. So this box will keep or will fill in some of your stuffs, like for example, used clothes or toys. So in this analogy, the variable is the box named donate and the values are your stuffs. So a variable is used similarly in math, or they are operated similarly in math. So a variable needs a name. So as mentioned, a variable should have a name. So when naming a variable, so there are rules to be applied. So the rules applied for naming variable is same with the rule in naming your program. So to recall, so we have here some of the rules. First, variable name should start with either a letter, an underscore, or a dollar sign. So meaning to say, a variable name should not start with a number. So you can use dollar sign, but then it is not recommended to use dollar sign for variable names for reason that some variables, when using variables in a program, there are rules in naming your variable. So these are some of the rules. Actually, the rules for naming variables are the same rule in naming your program, but let's just recall what are those rules. First, variable name should start with either a letter, underscore, or dollar sign. They cannot start with a number. So pwede ang number after nasa letter, underscore, or a dollar sign. But then it is not recommended to use dollar sign as the starting character of your variable name. Kaya usually, ang dollar sign naa siya special meaning sa Java program. Second rule, you cannot use other symbols such as question mark or percent sign. Then spaces are not permitted inside names either. So the use of space is not allowed when naming variables. So if you want to indicate space, you can use underscores. So you can use uppercase letters to denote word boundaries as in a transverse path. Like for example, if your variable name contain multiple names, so pwede siya mo gamit ng camel case na convention. So when we say camel case, the first letter of the second word must start with uppercase, or the succeeding words, the first letter of the succeeding words must start with an uppercase. So that is a camel case. Third rule, variable names can be of any length. So there is no limit to the number of characters of a variable name, but it is not recommended to name your variable na taas ang iyang length of characters. Then, fourth, variable names cannot be reserved words. So when we say reserved word, these are special words used in Java language. So, dili siya pwede gamiton. Like for example, double, the word class, so that is not allowed since they have meanings in Java program. Next is Variable names cannot have arithmetic symbols such as plus or minus sign. Then the last one is variable names are case sensitive. So when we say case sensitive, capital letters are different from small letters. So for example, H, lowercase h, and H with A that is in capital letter, so they are treated differently. So they are different variable names. So by convention, variable names should start with a lowercase letter. So kung ato i-recall, pag mag-name kita ng class, so by convention, it should start with capital letter. Ang variable should start with lowercase letter. But then, your program will not be an error if mo lowercase siya or mo uppercase siya. So that's the purpose of kuan lang. Para dali siya ma-identify na kani siya is a class, then this one is a variable. So these are some of the reserved words or words that are used in Java that cannot be used as name of your variables or name of your class. So these are some of the keywords. So we have here example of legal and illegal variable names in Java. So first is we have can volume 1. So this is a legal variable name. X is a legal variable name. Can volume is a legal variable name. But then it violates the convention that variable name should start with a lowercase. Actually, dili siya mo error kung i-name nimo ang imong variable na can volume with capital letter C na nag-start sa imong program, but then by convention, so dili siya applicable. Okay, variable name should be in lowercase letter man. 6-pack, so this is an illegal variable name kaya nag-start siya sa number. Next, can volume, so still an error or illegal kaya naa siya space. Double is illegal because it is a reserved word or a keyword. This one is illegal because of the use of division na operator, and we have the period. So, mo-follow jud ta ng rules pag mag-name kita ng ato variables. Okay, when we compile our program, so mo error jud siya if wrong ang atong pag-name sa variable. So, how to use this variable? So, pag maggamit kita variable sa ato program, kinahanglan siya i-declare. If you can recall itong sa atong flowchart, katong mga variables na ato taggamit sa atong flowchart, ato siya tagbutang sa initialization block. So, tag-identify nato ang mga inputs and output, then tag-list down nato siya in the initialization block. Kung sa program na siya, so ang equivalent ana niya sa program is ato siya i-declare. So, before you can use a variable, so kinahanglan anay siya na i-declare. So once dili nimo ma-declare ang variable, so mo error na siya or mo prompt siya error sa program na wala niya ma-read ang kana na variable. So take note, every time you use a variable, it should be declared first. So unsa may syntax to declare a variable? So we have here syntax, data type, the name of your variable, equal, then we have the value, then it ends with a semicolon or a terminator. So what does it mean? So unsa na data type siya, then the variable name, equal unsay initial value sa imong variable, unsay imong i-assign na value sa variable. Or pwede nimo siya i-declare using this syntax, data type, variable name, then a terminator. So, unsa may lang difference? This one, ang imong variable name naa siya naka-assign daan na value. Ang sa ikaduha na variable declaration, walay assigned value ang imong variable name. So that's their difference. So we have here example, data type int. So for integer data type, so we will discuss this later. So int my variable, so the name of the variable is my variable is equal to 5, then end with a semicolon. So it simply means that our variable, my variable, is an integer data type that holds a value of 5. So nag-initialize kita. When we say initialize, nag-assign kita ng starting value ng atong variable. So pasabot lang ani niya, ang imong my variable naa siya 5 na value, or ang 5 na value imo siya tagluon kang my variable. So amo na ang iyang pasabot. So that is how to declare a variable. So when declaring variable, you usually specify an initial value. So unsay starting value ng imong variable, ang tawag ana niya is initialization. So, nag-initialize kita ng starting value ng imong variable. When declaring a variable, you also specify the type of its value. So, unsa may ang type, katong iyang data type, unsa man na klase na value ang i-accept sa imong variable. So, muna ang iyang pasabot. So, note, the type comes before the variable name. So, sa atong syntax diri, mag-start ang data type or ang type ng value before ang name ng variable. So what are these data types? So data type determines the kind of value a variable may contain and the operations that may be performed on it. It also specifies the size we need to store at a given variable, the operations that can be done on that type, and the way the values of that type are stored. Simply, kung mulang kitag data types, si Jay mag-identify unsa na klase na value ang i-hold sa imong variable. Unsa ra may pwede nimo iluon sa kana na variable. Aside from that, ang imo sang data type ang mag-identify unsa ra man mga operations ang ma-perform sa kana na variables. That's the use of data type. Like for example, sa to given diri, int my variable is equal to 5. So ang iyang data type is integer. So when we say integer, kung sa math pa na siya, integer numbers are negative and positive whole number. So kay integer man ang data type di my variable, it simply means ang my variable na variable is numbers ra ang pwede maluon sa iya. Numbers that are whole number. So, amo na ang use ng data type. So, these are the data types. So, we have two types of data type. We have the primitive and non-primitive. So, for this discussion, we will use the primitive data types. When we say primitive data types, these are built-in data types in Java language. So your primitive data types, so we have here, we have Boolean, we have numeric. So kung mulang kitag Boolean data type, ang value ano niya is duha lang, true sa none, false. Kung numeric data type, so these are number data types. So it could be character or integral data type. Then we have for integral, we have the integer and the floating point. So integer, these are whole numbers na data type. Ang iyang format is whole numbers siya. So for integer data type, they are classified into byte, short, int, and long integer. So mag-differ lang ni siya sa range na iya i-accept. Then for floating point, so these are numbers na may decimal point na siya. So they are categorized into two. We have the float and the double data type. So, ang ila pong difference duha is ang range lang po na ila i-accept na value. Another data type also is we have the string. So, nabilong na siya sa non-primitive data type. But we will discuss string data type also. So, these are the acceptable value for each data type. We have for the byte. So, this is the smallest primitive data type in Java. So, and used for storing whole numbers. So, ang byte na data type is mo-accept siya ng whole numbers. So, from negative 128 to positive 127. So, amo na ang iyang range. So, for example, so we will create a program. So, with this data type, so we have public class, name of our program. So, ato siya padakuon ang atong text. So, ato kita sa configure, then Java, then font. So, para mas readable siya. So, we have here public class, name of our program is sample. So, therefore, the name of our class is sample. Open, close, curly brace, then the main, public, static, void, main, string, args. Then open, close, curly brace. So take note, inside the main, diri nato iputang ang atong program statements. So using byte data type to declare a variable. So again, syntax niya is data type, variable name, equal to the value or the starting value of your variable, then semicolon. So, mag-start sa data type. So, we have byte data type. So, byte, take notes, lowercase. Data types are in lowercase because there are, like for example, the byte, they don't say byte na capital letter ang B, but that is not a data type. So, just be careful. So, all data types are in lowercase except for string. Okay, uppercase and string. So byte variable name, like for example, age is equal to 7. So semicolon. So compile, run. So wala siya output pa na tag display. So for example, we have here our data type byte is minimum value na EJ i-accept is negative 128 to positive 127. So what will happen if you exceed with that range or nisubra ka sa range ng data type na byte? So let us say negative 128. So positive 128. So it will prompt an error. So ang iyang error is incompatible types. So possible loss conversion from int to byte. So ang iyang error is incompatible type siya. Meaning to say, ang kanina value wala siya mo compatible sa kanina data type. So, muna ang iyang error. Ang ibang error na is possible loss of precision. So, pasabot ni sobra or ni exceed ang imong tag-assign na value sa data type na imong tagamit. So, lang siya from int to byte. So, it could be ang pag-read niya ini is integer data type na. Pero ang imong variable na tagamit, not variable, the data type that you use is in byte. So, it will cause an error if you exceed with the range non-particular data type. So we have 1 to 7, or let us say 12. So that is for byte data type. Next is we have short data type. So amo ni ang iyang range. So same lang gihapon pagka-declare. We have short, then variable name, then equal Then, ang iyang value, then terminated by a semicolon. Then, we have int data type. So, integer data type. So, amo ni siya ang iyang i-accept na values from negative, that value to positive, this one. So, usually, pwede ra ka magamit ng integer for arithmetic computation. Then, we have long integer. So, this one. So, we will have example. Mag-declare kita. So, for example, int tuition is equal to 3590. So, wala pa na to siya tag-display. What if butangan na to siya ng decimal point? So, 3590.9. So, it will cause an error sub. So, ang iyang error is incompatible types na sub siya. Ang imong tag-assign na value is with decimal point siya, but then, ang iyang data type is integer. Again, when we say integer, it will only accept whole numbers. Same thing also with byte. So, incompatible type gyapon siya. Byte, integer, long integer, short integer, those are whole numbers ra ang iyang i-accept. For example, long x is equal to 89. So, around siya. But usually, pwede ra kita di mo gamit, pwede ra integer ang atong gamiton kay di ang pod mo abot sa pila ka millions ang atong i-compute na numbers. So, integer. Next is we have floating point, the float and the double data type. So, mo ani ang ilang range. So, mag-differ lang siya sa range na ilang i-accept. So, numbers that have fractional part. So, when we say fractional part, so with decimal point siya. Same thing also with double data type. So, example, double x is equal to this one. So, pagbutangan nato siya ng value na may point something. Yan na siya. So, pwede ra siya walay decimal point, pwede ra sab na ay decimal point. So, automatic na siya i-accept. Then, float y. So, that one. So, kana siya. That is for float. Para butangan nato siya value. So, this one, it caused an error. Ganina, katong wala pa siya point value, ang float, ni error siya. So, nilaong na po siya ang yung error, incompatible type. So, question, ang float mo accept man siya decimal value. Ganun ni error man siya, na decimal value mangyapon ang atong tag-assign. So, di ni siya, actually, murag dili ni siya ma-recognize this particular value kung double ba siya or kung. So, para ma-identify niya na this value na imo tag-assign is in float data type siya. So, butangan lang nimo siya F. So, this F value, apply siya if naanay decimal point ang imong tag-assign na value sa imong float na data type. So, butangan lang siya F. That one. So, di siya mo cause ng error. If ever mo gamit ka ng float na data type. Then, another data type is we have Boolean. So, true or false lang iyang dawaton. So, for Boolean, simply Boolean. For example, find is equal to true or is equal to false. So usually magamit ining si boolean na data type if naa na mga conditional statements. So kanang conditional statements i-discuss na siya sa mga later pa na mga lessons. Next is we have character data type. So used to hold a single character. So when we say character data type, single value ra siya. So that is enclosed in a single code. So when we say enclosed, nasuyod siya in a single code. Example, car, middle initial is equal to, enclosed in a single quote, C. Then semicolon. So what happens if magdungag kag another character, C1? So mulong siya, mo error siya, unclosed character literal. So it simply means kay duha naman siya ka character. So, ang pag-read ana niya is no longer a character data type, but a string data type. So, unclosed character literal. So, it should be enclosed in a double quote. Okay? More than one character naman siya. So, kung character data type, single character lang ang iyang i-accept na value. For example, 1 or 1. So, error gyapon siya. Single character lang jud ang i-accept niya na value. Next is we have the last data type, the string data type. So, string. So, string data type is a collection of one or more characters. So, sa imong string data type, pwede ra isa ka character ang imong i-assign na value. Pwede pod more than one character. So, kung string data type, it is enclosed in a double quote. So, for example, string name or string f name. First name is equal to James. So again, ang difference ng character sa string, character data type, single character enclosed in a single quote. String data type, more than one characters, and it is enclosed in a double quote. So that is how to declare variables in Java. Next is, we have here example of variable declaration in Java. So this is a correct variable declaration. This one is also a correct variable declaration. So naalang siya naka-assign. Int total is equal to pens plus battle. So naa siya naka-assign na arithmetic expression. This one is an error. Kay walay data type na naka-indicate. This one is error because ang value na tag-assign nimo sa integer data type is a string data type. This one is correct, then this one is also correct. So we have also here, for example, kung ma-notice ninyo, so this one, int volume is equal to double quote. Like for example, mag-add kita another data type, another variable with string data type, like for example, L name. So nag-add kita another variable, L name, which is a string data type, is equal to, let us say, ang iyang name is 2. So question, ma'am, ang atong L name is 2 ang iyang value. Is this 2 a number? So, kaning 2 dire, dili na siya number. Character bali siya. So, this number 2 here, dili na siya nimo magamit kung mag-arithmetic operator na ka or na nimo mga computations. Kay string data type man siya. So, amo na siya. Anyway, ato lang na siya i-discuss. So, another way to declare also variable is pwede ka mag-declare ng multiple variables in one line lang siya. If ma-apply lang po na siya if pareha silang data type. Like for example, we have int x, let us say y. So kana siya. So in one variable declaration lang siya, in one line ra nato tag declare. So pwede ka mag-declare na multiple variables if pareha sila og data type. So separated by semicolon lang siya. So this one will cause an error. So unsa may ang error? So lang siya, variable x is already defined. So it simply means na declare na si x. So dili na pwede nimo gamiton ng x. Na declare na si y. So dili na nimo pwede gamiton si y, or dili na nimo pwede i-define pagbalik si y. So amo na iyang pasabot. So once na declared na ang variable, then imo siya i-declare same variable name lang siya, so mo-cause siya ng error. So you can name these variables as x, then y. So kaning x na capital letter is different from the x na small letter. Ang y na capital letter is different from y na small letter. So like I mentioned kanina, ang Java is case sensitive. So different ang uppercase sa lowercase. So they are different variables. Lahi sila na storage. So pwede inganion siya pag-declare if pareha sila ng data type ang imong variables. So separated by a comma lang siya. So how to display these variables? So ato na siya ipa-display. So for example, we have here at lang plus talang siya. So James King. So for example, i-display na nato ini na mga values sa atong variable. Unlike sa previous nato na activity sa first Java program, tag-display nato using system.out.print. So same also here. Kung gusto nimo i-display ang value sa imong variable, so mugamit gihapon kita ng system.out.print. Kung sa may naka-differ sa ila katong sa first na atong activity to this activity. So sa atong last na activity, we have here for example system.out.print double quote, like for example age. So kani siya na statement system.out.print. So i-display ko nun niya ang age. So anything inside the double quote i-display. So sa kanina program, ang iyang i-output is ang word na age. So ang atong himuon kay naggamit mo kita variable, so gamiton nato ang variable pag pa-display. Like for example here, the value of age is 12. Ma'am, what if ba di butang na kanako diretso siya dito na 12. So ang nahitabo diri, marag constant ang value, fix ang value rather sa imong string literal. So ang imong once naka-variable manggod siya, so pwede nimo siya ma-manipulate ang value niya. Like for example, on the later parts sa imong program, ma-change ang value ng imong age. Instead of 12, mahimo siya for example na 15. So pwede siya ma-manipulate. Unlike if naka-enclose lang siya into a string literal, so dili nimo ma-manipulate ang value because it is a fixed, murag siya printed value lang siya or fixed na value siya, displayed value bali kung naa siya sa string literal, unlike with variables na pwede ma-manipulate ang iyang value. So again, kaganina ato tagbutang didon tag-enclose nato ang variable ang word na age in a double quote. So ang iyang output is simply age na word. So pag read niya ng system.out.print age, kaya na ang imong age naka-enclose man sa double quote, so therefore i-print niya kung ano sa inside sa double quote. So the question now is, ang value ng age ang atong i-display, which is 12. So, unsaon man siya pag-display. So, to display a variable, so simply, you call the variable. Unsaon man, ibutang lang nimo ang name ng variable. So, we have here, pag-compile sa program, process completed. Pag-run sa program, muadto siya kang main, basahon niya ang imong main. So, tagbasa niya ini, byte, age is 12. So, sequential ang iyang pag-read sa imong code. So, next na statement, int tuition. Ibasahon niya yun. Then, next line. Then, another line. Until maabot siya dire, string lname is equal to king. Then, white space. When we say white space, simply a space. Then, nakasugat siya, naka-encounter siya ng system.out.print. So, since naka-encounter man siya ng system.out.print, so na-recognize niya na mag-display siya ng output or mag-produce siya ng output. So, unsa may iyang i-produce? Age. So, tag-read niya ang variable. So, what's the value of age? Tanaw niya diri. So, age na stored siya na ang value ng age is 12. So, this program will display 12. So, amo siya, ni-display siya ng 12. So, that is how to print value of a variable. So, another example, so let us say, i-display na to ang first name sa non-last name. So, system out print ln para mo next line. So, f name. Then, i-copy lang natin siya. L name. So, compile. So, pag-simulate nato sa ito program, pag-run sa iya, mo-ari siya kang main, basahon niya tanan ang imong variable declarations. Then, na-read niya ang imong system.out.println. So, mo-display siya na fname. Ano sa may value ni fname? James. So, mo-display siya na James. Naka-ln man siya. So, meaning to say, ang next niya na output is on the new line or next line. So, next niya, system.out.print ln. So, new line siya. ln. L name. So, unsay value ng L name? We have king. King. So, pero dapat na siya king. Then, system.out.print age. So, after kang king is we have age, which is 12. So, wala na siya space dali ha. So, nga na bali ang iyang output. So, ato siya i-run. So, we have James, King, and 12. So, that is how to display variables. For double data type, like for example, we have here, or for float data type, what if wala siya walay decimal point? So, automatic na siya kung walay decimal point ang value sa double sa non-float data type, ang output niya is with decimal point siya, pero 0.0. So, copy. So, we have here, for example, x. Take note, the value of our x here is 5. For example, ini 5, 3, 4, 5. So, wala siya yung decimal point. Pero ang iyang display na, it will return a value in decimal. Kaya floating point man siya. So, naa siya yung 0.0. So, automatic na siya i-convert niya into a floating point. So, that is for variable declaration in displaying variables. Another, what if, for example, gusto nato siya na before ining si James na name, mo display siya word na name. Like, for example, ang output sa itong program is, nga ni, for example, yung output, first name. Then, ang value na itong James. Last name. Atong si king. Then age. So, 12. For example, ingani ang iyang display. So, how to do that? So, sa ini example, mag-una pag-display ang word na first name. So, to do that, we will use the string literal. So, mo display pag-una ang first name na string. So, before ining si James, kaning F name, i-display anay na to atong first name. So, i-enclose siya sa double quote. So, we have first name, dot, then space. Para na-ay space between sa imong first name, which is si James, then katong word or ang string literal na first name. So, sa may buhaton. So, this is string, then this is variable. Ato siya i-concatenate. When we say concatenate, isumpay. So, isumpay nato ang string literal sanan ang variable name. So, saan siya pagsumpay? Mugamit kita ng concatenation na operator, which is plus sign. So, kaning plus diri, this is not an arithmetic operator. Dili ni siya kung addition. Ang gamit ng plus diri is concatenation. So, tag-mention ka ganina sa definition ng data type. Ang data type kuno mo identify siya kung unsa na operation ang ma-perform sa imong variable. So, given ng atong variable diri, si it name is a string. So, kani siya is also a string. So, ang string, sanan ang string, imo i-add. So, dili siya pwede. So, ang string data type, dili nimo siya ma-add. Pero kung makasugat siya ng addition na symbol, for example, this one, ang first name which is a string literal, plus ang F name which is a string data type, i-concatenate nimo, nakasugat siya plus sign, rather. So, ang use ng plus sign diri is not addition, but instead, a concatenation. Iya isumpay ang both string. So, amo na siya ang gamit ng plus. So, dili siya addition once string data type. So, we have here last name. So, butang natin doon last name. So, last name. Dot, plus. So, L name. And this one, we have age. Dot, comma, then plus. Ma'am, this one is string, this one is also string, then this one is string literal. So, string literal plus string literal, dili pwede ma-addition. Instead, ang plus is for concatenation. But here, age is a number data type. So, number data type siya. Then, this one is a string. So, string plus number, dili po siya pwede. Kaya, ang pwede rin mo ma-perform in addition na symbol are numeric data types lang. Although numeric ni siya, na kay imo man siya i-add into a string, automatic kaning plus dire, dili na siya addition. Again, concatenation na subsidya. Same thing also with other data types. Kung ato siyang butangan nan, or kung mag-concatenate kita ng mga string literals. So, output of this program is we have first name. So, down is system.out.print. Iya display ang sulod sa double quote sa string literal. So, first name, jaoy, space, then F name. Kung sa may value ni F name, James. So, mo-display siya, James. Then, next line is last name, space, king. Then, age, space, 12. Then, the other number. So, ingana bali siya. What if, for example, kaning si X sanan si Y, gamitan nato siya ng plus E. Si X sanan si Y. Kung sa may yung result naman. So, So, ang iyang result is i-add si x sa nan si y. So, dyan, tag-add ni dyan because x and y are both numeric data type. So, number data type man si float sa nan si double. So, pagsukat ni dyan ng plus 1, ay si x is double. So, number. Si float, si y na float is number. So, kay both number man siya, so ang plus 3 is dili siya concatenation, but then, addition siya. So, maobali na siya ang tag-mention kay ganina ng imong data type. Siya ang determine kung unsay value na i-accept sa imong variables. At the same time, siya ang identify unsa na operation ang pwede ma-perform sa imong variables or sa imong value na pangbutang din ha.